The Assault class is a lot of fun in Battlefield 5 and probably has the best weapon from the alpha in the STG-44, and also sees the return of a few features such as rocket launchers that don't require a bipod. That is a nice change of pace from Battlefield 1. In this video I'm going to go over the main changes that we'll see in the Assault class from Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5 for anyone that wasn't lucky enough to play the alpha or just didn't bother playing in the Assault class. You can of course expect some of these things to change. Of course we are only playing the alpha, we're going to be playing a beta and then the main game, and even things change in the main game, but overall I think things will probably stay on the same sort of page. During my time on Battlefield 1 I spent a load of time playing as the Assault class, mostly causing trouble with the fast firing submachine guns but also taking out tanks whenever I could. The class was all about speed and power, often leading you to run flat out into the enemy team, taking down as many as you could, and if you watch my Top Players show you will have known that most of the clips that people send in that are back rages and things like that were all with the SMG-08 or the Hellriegel, and I had to stop accepting some of them. The Hellriegel and Automatico started out as the two best weapons for that, however this changed to the SMG and the Annihilator Trench towards the end of the game's life. Either way, it is clear what the Assault class was used for and it is incredibly effective for it. In BF5 though, things have changed a little bit with the introduction and alteration of a few features. Starting out, we'll go over my biggest change, and the one that I think will change gameplay the most. As we expected, there are now rocket launchers in the game that will open up the type of gameplay we'll see. In Battlefield 1, it was very rare to see someone rocket a plane out of the sky, as the rocket gun had a low firing arc and required you to bipod in order to fire it. It was very effective against tanks and, to be honest, infantry a lot of the time, but you couldn't really use it to take down planes because you'd have to go prone, aim up at the sky and hope the plane that was shooting at you or shooting at teammates would fly low right in front of you and then you could take it out, and often you wouldn't get a one-shot kill. Well, in Battlefield 5 things will return to what we had in BF3 and BF4 to some extent, with awesome moments taking a return to the field as well. We still get dynamite, and from what I could tell it was still very effective, as it was in Battlefield 1, and maybe DICE want to do something about the distance you can throw it, but overall I think it's okay. The removal of anti-tank grenades in the alpha was great in my opinion, and generally grenades were not a problem. However, I don't know if they're going to be in the full game yet. Probably anti-tank grenades will be a thing, but will they be as effective and rampant as they were in BF1? I doubt it. I barely died to grenades in the alpha, and that was a good thing, and explosives in general weren't overly used unless it was anti-vehicle. That's an awesome thing to see. Next up, the weapons. We only got to see two weapons in the alpha for the Assault class, however the STG-44 was clearly the best and it told me everything I needed to know about the direction DICE are taking the game in terms of gunplay. Close range, the Assault class is very strong, not much can stop it up close and the hip fire is pretty decent as well. Medium range, it is also quite effective with the STG capable of tap firing at distance, however DICE have confirmed that we were playing an old build of the game and things will change in the future. I like the fact we can accurately hit enemies at range, however the damage might be too high. You can just tap fire and take someone out across the map. Maybe reducing the damage and having a damage drop off at range to keep the weapons within their intended ranges could be cool because your shots are going where you're shooting, and also you're not taking snipers out at long range, so you get rewarded for playing within the distance that your class is good at. The Assault class is now very strong when up against tanks, and this was a big problem I found in the alpha. Now this is down to three reasons that I'll quickly go through now. Number one, tanks are underpowered, and as with most of the vehicles in Battlefield 5, or the alpha at least, DICE clearly turned down the damage they'll do, and will probably put that up in the beta and full game. Number two, the Panzerfaust can be reloaded incredibly quickly, which is great for the Assault player, but terrible for the tanker. You just don't have time to reposition your slow tank between shots and end up taking 3 or 4 before you can even do anything about it. Finally, number 3. Spotting has gone for the most part, or at least 3D spotting in the same way that we're used to has gone, and the stuff we saw in the alpha was also more overpowered than DICE intend it to be, so they're going to be dropping back the amount of 3D auto spotting you get in the game. I do like this change. However, as a vehicle player you just cannot spot enemies that are hiding in rubble shooting rockets at you. This then causes tanks to camp on hills and avoid close range engagements because they can't control their positioning, they can't control where they're getting shot from, and that's not good for anyone playing the game. If they introduce some awesome countermeasures, similar to what we had in Battlefield 4, but obviously to the time, we don't want APS or anything like that, but you know, smoke, reactive armor, things like that, I think players would be more inclined to get into the action in tanks, even with 3D spotting gone. So there are the main changes with the Assault class that I noticed while playing the alpha. There will of course be many more differences worth talking about, but until the beta comes out, I don't really think any of it is worth discussing in depth because I've got no gameplay or experience to go by. Overall, I'd say the Assault class was the most powerful class in the game, especially now as you can buddy revive, so the Assault class, like any other class, can revive squad mates, although it does take a little bit longer. But overall, I'd say that maybe the STG-44 was the standout, and having a Panzerfaust was just really cool. Taking down planes, although I didn't do a whole lot of it, is just so satisfying, and I'm so glad to see that return in a Battlefield game. Thanks for watching guys, I hope this information was useful, and I'll catch you in the next video.